Well, thanks for staying with us. This is Firecrackers, and wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. Let's get into the conversation proper, shall we? As, of course, we begin with our focus on the 5,000 Naira controversy surrounding the fuel subsidy removal by 2022, February precisely. I am joined tonight by the CEO, Kavas Group in the nation's capital, Abuja, Kenechukwu Nnamani joins us live on the program. Thank you so much, Kenechukwu, for coming on the program. Plus tonight, still from the nation's capital, yes, Dr. Kelani Mohammed, chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, is a technocrat and national director of the National Director of Media Presidential Support Committee. Dr. Kelani Mohammed also joins us live from Abuja, the nation's capital. And of course, outside Nigeria, in the United Kingdom, a legal practitioner and human rights activist joins us live on the program. He's also the president, National Movement for Positive Change. Gentlemen, thank you so much for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV at this time. Perhaps we should begin the conversation from the nation's capital, Abuja, where Nnamani is standing by, CEO Kavas Group. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with us. So 5,000 Naira.
Thank you very much.
As palliative or grants for 40 million Nigerians to cushion the effects of subsidy removal in 2022, February. Nigerians are set to buy a liter of fuel at between 320 Naira to 340 Naira per liter. I wonder how this news comes to you at this time.
Well, I think at this time it's quite shocking. Definitely, fuel subsidy, to remove the fuel subsidy is a good idea, but at the current time that we have so much going on, insecurity going on in Nigeria at the moment, I don't think it's a wise decision for the federal government and NNPC to remove the subsidy. So many people have perceived the removal of subsidy to be a strategy for the 2023 election, especially the fact that they are considering giving back 5,000 Naira to 40 million Nigerians to be like a palliative for fuel in place of fuel subsidy. But then the question is going to be, is it going to really be a palliative for removal of fuel subsidy, or is it like a political movement to still buy votes in 2023? Because if you look at it, we have over 40 million people. So why are we giving palliative to just 40 million people? How do we account for those people, 40 million people? How can we assure there's clear evidence that this money is not being channeled into a different thing altogether? So removal of fuel subsidy is something that is inevitable. But at this time, I think no. So the question would be, this same thing happened during Jonathan's time. And, the present administration fought back at that particular point in time and said it was a big problem removing fuel subsidy, and we are going to put people into, poverty and so on and so forth. So why now? Why now? That is the question. I mean, we all can't answer that question. So the biggest problem would be, for what reason at the moment?
I mean, one also wonders, if not now, when will be the right time to remove the subsidy? I'm not sure if Dr. Kelani Mohammed is with us. Dr. Kelani Mohammed, chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. Well, your party is currently ruling the country. Perhaps I'm wondering. All right, so I'm not sure Dr. Mohammed is with us. Hopefully he can rejoin or reconnect with us. But let's take the conversation to the United Kingdom, where Nia Aboishade joins us live, legal practitioner, human rights activist, and president, National Movement for Positive Change. Thank you so much, Aboishade, for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV. Perhaps you could also share with us just how you have received this news of 5,000 Naira as palliative for the removal of subsidy for 40 million Nigerians. Perhaps you could also share with us, Aboishade, is there anything wrong with the timing? If not now, just when?
Thank you very much for having me. The 5,000 Naira palliative, I see it as a deceit of the highest order. It is not that's going to work in Nigeria. We have seen this government promise before in 2015 that they do, or 2019 that they are going to be paying unemployed people the sum of 5,000 Naira And this was not to be. Nobody has been paid. They even said that they're spending money to fill the pupils in the school, and nobody is benefiting. You can see that this is a to the highest order. Why paying people 5,000 naira? Because by the time you times the figure, 5,040 million people, you will discover the amounts of money that they are even spending on the fuel subsidy is not equal to the amount they will be giving. So the numbers, the amount of money that they will be given to the citizens is much more higher even than the subsidy. So the calculation is not even right. I think it is a deceit just to calm the nerves of the people, because this is a time when the people should reject this. Of course, there is time for everything. A time should come. The subsidy cannot continue forever. But this is a very hard time in Nigeria when you consider what is going on in Nigeria now, the expensive things, the drugs, the foods. People cannot continue even with this amount of increment on the subsidy. So it's a deceit just to calm the nerves of the people, because they know what they intend to do is not good. It's not in the best interest of the Nigerian people. And people should reject it totally. They should come out in mass to reject this removal of subsidy at this point in time. It's not going to work. And the palliative is not going to work.
Yes, so let me ask you this question, Aboyshade. Let's stay with you for a moment. President, National Movement for Positive Change. Just for how long will the government keep subsidizing fuel? We understand the government, Nigerian government, subsidizes a lot of commodities for Nigerians. I mean, fuel, electricity, and all of that. So the question to ask is, for how long will the Nigerian government continue to subsidize the price of fuel?
Yes, Nigeria is not stable at the moment. The economy is a comatose. We have to stabilize the economy first. We cannot put the cart before the horse. So what they are doing now is not going to help the economy. They should concentrate on the downtrodden economy in Nigeria now. If you see the amount of the exchange rate of naira to dollar is too much, and this has dragged the increment of foodstuff and everything upward. So we need to stabilize the economy first. When the economy is sound and the country is at peace, the security and everything, then we can be talking of removal of subsidy. It's like they are putting petrol on fire at this time. Things are hard. People are crying. We that live abroad, we know how much we are spending. We are sending to people in Nigeria. Almost everybody is asking for help because of things that are expensive. Now, if you combine that with fuel increase, that means the house rent will go up. The amount of money people spend on hiring taxi or entering bus will go up. Everything will go up. So how are people going to cope with when you look at the minimum wage? Can people cope even with that additional 5,000 naira? What is it going to do for them? Because all area of economy we need to consider, not just the petrol. Once they remove the subsidy and the amount of money we are spending on fuel increase, then every other thing will go up and people will not be able to cope. I pity Nigerian people. They have endurance, but this is the time to resist this removal of subsidy. It cannot this time. A time will come, but the first thing is to stabilize the economy, to make sure that naira is par with dollar, because until our foreign exchange, the amount we are exchanging money is too much. The gap is too wide. In 1980, you change $1,000 for 546 naira, but today $1 is 546 naira. So we are moving around the circle. This needs to be addressed, and they are not addressing. What they are addressing is not at the right. Something has to be done. We need to address it.
All right. Perhaps we can now bring in a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress. Is also a technocrat and national director of media presidential support committee, Dr. Kelani Mohammed, who also joins us live from the Federal Capital Territory. Dr. Mohammed, perhaps you want to take up your opening thoughts by reacting to some of the positions rather of Nia Aboyshade, who is live for us in the United Kingdom. Do you have any issues with Nigerians buying fuel between 320 naira to 340 naira per litre for an oil-producing country in the world? Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. The profligacy of lies, fallacies that Nigerians are pushing forward against the removal of this subsidy will not work. I was a unionist in the 80s and 90s in the refinery when I was in Kaduna Refinery. And we were at the forefront of saying the government then should not remove subsidy in this country, because if Nigerians don't enjoy oil, the endowed, resources God has given them, what are they going to enjoy? But the reality has come now, as we ensconced into removing subsidy, because it's a reality. Whether we postpone the evil day today, it has to come. All the analysis have been done. All these people talking blah blah. The government must make sure after remove, because NNPC has been unbundled, whether we like it or not. And the PIA Act is saying NNPC now is a limited company. It's a limited company. Are you hearing me?
Go ahead. Yeah, okay, hear you. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hello?
Please.
Yes.
Dr. Mohammed, go ahead.
It's a limited company. So NNPC must make sure that they do the right thing. And the right thing is they cannot take the burden of this subsidy again. The government is not unaware that if they remove this subsidy, what Nigerians are going to face. And that's why maybe they came out with these palliatives. We learned that they are going to bring up the issue of buses nationwide, which will be converted from petrol to gas. And Nigerians will also be given loans. So my own advice, whether the 5,000 will be enough for the poorest citizens of this country or not, they should do something akin to what our former president did, the President Abacha, who brought about the PTF. PTF, all the monies, when he increased the money, or the 2 naira or 1 naira they were getting from fuel, it was going to PTF, and PTF did a lot of job in this country. Infrastructural development, the issue of health, the issue of education, and the issue of food security. So what we are saying is, whether we like it or not, NNPC is no more going to take that body again, because it's now a liability company which is standing on its own. Nigerians, all we are saying, we must come together to make sure that we support this removal.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, in the nearest future, Nigeria is going to be a great place. But what we are telling the government,
well, we hope so, Dr. Kelani Mohammed.
We should be able to use this money.
Perhaps we should let's stay with you, Dr. Mohammed, for a moment. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but yes. So if you can, Dr. Mohammed, it's the fact that it's not just the fact that Nigerians are to probably bear the brunt of buying fuel for 320 naira, or between 320 and 340. It's the fact that there's also the problem of distribution. How is this money, 5,000 naira, going to be distributed across to 40 million Nigerians? And who are these Nigerians? How do we detect, or how do we decipher indeed who is a vulnerable Nigerian? What's the mood? Are you concerned? Perhaps we could put up the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and the visuals where we just had the Minister of Finance and Melekari, GMD of NNPC a moment ago at the World Bank session. Perhaps we could have that visuals on with us while we continue our discussion. So that's the problem. Are you also concerned about this?
Really concerned.
Just how the mood of distributing 5,000 naira to 40 million Nigerians?
Yes, I don't know how she came about the poorest Nigerians, those 40 million she's talking about. But The only issue is that we learned yesterday, she said, humanitarian ministry, the minister, they are working the modalities to see how this money will be distributed. And they said they are going to use electronic transfer through BVN. So what I don't understand is how they came about the 40 million people when we know that more Nigerians are very poor now, as statistics is showing. But I know with time, since they said this money will be dispersed for 6 months, then later maybe 1 year, but Nigerians should know that it's not going to be a continuous exercise. It's just for 1 year. When this money is being distributed to those poorest people, it's not going to be more than 1 year. And since they are working out the modalities through humanitarian ministry, we believe very soon they will come up with a very necessitated way that will make sure that it affects the poorest in our society, maybe through the world, local government, yes, and at the state level. So if they do that, they say they are working it, and very soon it will be made known to Nigerians. We know in the past, not this government, they have been promising that they will bring out Nigeria out of the woods, but it has not been done. But this government is doing its best to make sure that things go well in this country. And you can see the minister of...
I'm not sure my other guest, Dr. Mohammed, just a moment, I'm not sure my other contributors on the program would agree with you that this government is doing the best. Let's bring Namani into the conversation as well, and Boris Shade. I am not sure, Dr. Mohammed, that they will agree with you that this government is doing its very, very best. Perhaps we should begin with you in the national capital as well, Namani, Kinechuku Namani as well. Perhaps you want to also respond to the position and thoughts of Dr. Mohammed, who is also live for us in the FCT, about Nigerians probably bearing the brunt for a few periods. We don't know how long. We don't know how long this is going to take. We understand, of course, the 5,000 naira palliative or subsidy grant or whatever is supposed to be distributed within the period of 6 months. We don't know if that's the period Nigerians are to hold on to. Just what exactly are your thoughts when you look at the fact that during the COVID-19 pandemic, palliatives were hoarded? It took smart Nigerians to discover where these palliatives were. Of course, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Sadia Umaru Farouk, has also come under serious scrutiny and criticisms of the handling of the disbursement of these funds as well. Do you think that this might also end up generating another controversy as regards this money reaching the Nigerians that indeed need these monies?
The other participants over here in Abuja, I would definitely not agree with the part where he said Nigerians, whether we like it or not, we have to embrace removal of subsidy. Like I said earlier, subsidy is something that I strongly believe is pulling the country backwards. But then you have to put a whole lot of things into consideration. Why was the subsidy started in the first place? It was just a way for us to subsidize a particular commodity to make it much more affordable because of the level of poverty in the country. Now, when you're talking about removal of subsidy, you should have also thought about that before actually breaking up NNPC in the first place. People are going into poverty every single day. Even the middle class, they are dropping down to poverty level. And then you can't come up and say that whether we like it or not, we should embrace subsidy. Yeah, we agree that subsidy should be removed. Now, I'll give you an example. For a country like Nigeria and South Africa, if you put a comparison, you realize that even in South Africa, a liter of petrol is about $1.2, which is slightly above $500 and something. Now, if you compare it with the current price they are proposing after removal of subsidy, you realize that ours is still cheaper somehow. But what is making it cheaper is not the fact that is the fact that our forex market is poor. Now, another thing you have to look at this particular point in time is that you're talking about removal of subsidy, and then you're also talking about giving out 5,000 naira to 40 million Nigerians. Now, when you're removing subsidy, are you removing subsidy to car owners, for car owners, or are you removing subsidy and paying 5,000 naira so it can affect the people who are using public transportation? Now, there's a whole lot of things that needs to be clear before we can understand the narrative. I want to believe that if you want to remove subsidy, don't make people feel like they're entitled to a 5,000 naira monthly, which is definitely not going to do anything. What is the transport? A 30 minutes drive from wherever you are to the next location is definitely going to cost you nothing less than 500 to 1,000 naira. So how do you expect 5,000 naira to cause any difference in Nigeria at the moment, when you know there's high insecurity, people are not able to move from one place to the other, people also need to buy their foodstuff very expensive, people can't even secure their homes, people can't even pay tuition fee and school fees for their children. I think at the moment, if you want to remove subsidy, which we agree, like every other country, that you should remove subsidy, but there should be an alternative. Instead of planning to put 5,000 naira to 40 million ghost Nigerians that we believe, you should be thinking of investing in gas to power electric or to power intercity railway. That should be the narrative that we should be pushing at the moment. Nobody said don't remove subsidy, but we don't tell us that whether we like it or not, we must embrace it. No, create alternatives for us, make life easier for us, then we will embrace it, especially when there's alternative.
Perhaps the 5,000
fuel subsidy
subsidy palliatives or transportation grants is
a state railway system. That is what is practiced in Europe. It is going to decongest the road, it's going to help with the pollution, and at the same time you're saving money, and at the same time the country is growing. So don't tell us that we should embrace what we like.
The federal government is all right. Perhaps we should bring in Aboishad into the conversation as well. Nii, what are your thoughts? What exactly could be going through your mind at this time, based on the conversations we've had so far? Because we'll have to round off in just a moment on this particular conversation.
That he made it clear that he himself did not yet understand fully the how they will distribute the funds and the way they will manage it, whether it's 6 months or 1 year, and the selected people, how will it affect them. But what people don't discuss is the spilling over of this removal of subsidy. People talk that the fuel we are buying in Europe is expensive more than we are paying in Nigeria. But let me say this: an average worker, we earn about £1,000 a month in the United Kingdom. That's a cleaner. That's about 750,000 naira. And just a cleaner. Who can a security guard or a cleaner earn 750,000 in Nigeria? So when we are talking of, we have to look at the disposition of the people and average the citizen of Nigeria. When you look at it, the amount of money they are collecting every month, about 20 to 30,000 naira. How will they survive when the spillover takes place? The landlord will increase his rent once the subsidy is removed and everything go up. People want to take taxi, people want to take bus. How will they manage? Those things need to be taken into consideration. We are increasing the hardship of Nigeria by removing this fuel. But I agree with Doctor, because at a certain stage, the subsidy has to be removed. It cannot continue forever. But all what I'm saying is we should not put the cart before the horse. We should make sure that we stabilize the economy. We improve the condition of living of the Nigerian citizens before this coming. With this coming now, with the security challenges we are facing in Nigeria, with the economic catastrophe, and now with the removal of subsidy, how will Nigerian cope? We are not talking of the elite. The elite knows how to manage themselves. But the 40 million people that has been highlighted, even by the government, and the other people as well, that has not been highlighted, how will they cope? How will they be able to survive with the removal of this subsidy? Is this what APC promised Nigeria before the election? Is this what Nigeria is expecting from this government? Of course, people are saying they are trying what? In terms of security challenges we are facing, in terms of the economic problem, in terms of the infrastructure. Go around Nigeria, nowhere I see. Every day we listen to Nigerian news, hardship, killing, rape. This has not been addressed. Now we are adding problem to problem. I don't think time is right for the removal of that subsidy at this time. Not this time. Something has to be done.
Well, gentlemen, we have to take a breather. When we come back after the break, I'll just get your final thoughts as we continue our conversation on the federal government's plans to remove total fuel subsidy in February 2022. And of course, we'll also get to discuss this very declaration of bandits as terrorists by a federal high court in Abuja, the nation's capital. But perhaps, gentlemen, thank you so much for standing by with us. Dr. Kelani Mohammed in the nation's capital, Kinechukwu also as well in Abuja, the nation's capital, and of course, human rights activist and legal practitioner Nia Boyshade. We'll be back in just a moment. Let's take a breather. This is Firecrackers. Wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. Back in just a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Wherever you're watching from around the world, we're live from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria. This is Firecrackers, where we discuss issues of national interest. We also get to engage in smart and global conversations. My guest tonight from the nation's capital, Dr. Kelani Mohammed, an APC chieftain, technocrat, national director of media, presidential support committee. He's also with us on the program. We also have the CEO Kevas Group, Kenechukwu Namani, also live from the nation's capital. And from the United Kingdom, the president, National Movement for Positive Change, is with us. He's also a legal practitioner and human rights activist, Nia Boyshade. Gentlemen, thank you so much for standing by. Perhaps we should round off our conversation now as we stay with this issue of removal of fuel subsidy in 2022, February precisely. What are your closing thoughts in 60 minutes or less? Let's begin with you, Dr. Mohammed. Your closing thoughts as regards this fuel subsidy removal controversy.
Second to Miko. So far so good. We must bear the brunt of removing fuel subsidy, but I'm calling because NNPC has done its own part. They are fixing roads, they are fixing hospitals, and they are converting petrol cars to gas so that it will cushion the effect of high transportation fares. I'm now calling on the Minister of Finance and that of Humanitarian Services to do the needful, to do the right thing, to make sure that all the monies that will accrue from the removal is geared towards cushioning the hardening effects that will affect Nigerians. I'm calling also the governors. They must not always be coming to Abuja to collect FAC. Let them do the right thing in their states so that the masses will not feel the effect of this removal.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Kenechukwu Namani is also live from the Federal Capital Territory. What indeed are your closing thoughts as regards the fuel subsidy removal in 2022? In 60 seconds or less, please.
So at this point, I'll just say that Nigerians would have to endure as usual. That is basically what they always want us to do because it's inevitable. Removal of fuel subsidy is good for our nation. But what I would hope is that the Minister for Finance would stay away from saying that they're going to give 5,000 naira to Nigerians, because at the end of the day, it will not be transparent, and there's no evidence to show that it was done transparently. So I think we should look towards, like Dr. Mohammed said, look towards ways, very, very important ways of making sure you ease transportation within the country.
All right. I'm not sure many Nigerians will agree with you. I'm sure we do have some Nigerians indeed that may or indeed are in need of 5,000 naira. I mean, but perhaps Nia Boyshade can also weigh in with his closing thoughts as regards fuel subsidy removal. 60 seconds or less.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Nia Borishale, President, National Movement for Positive Change. Your closing thoughts?
Thank you very much. I think the fuel subsidy removal should be suspended now. The life of this government is about to expire. A new government to come in 2023, and they will deal with it properly. This is not the right thing for this government. There are a lot of things that this government needs to look into to alleviate the sufferings of the masses. The masses are suffering in Nigeria, and I pity the Nigeria situation now because of what they are going through. Additional problem being created by this government as we lead to disorderliness. I call on Nigeria to resist the subsidy removal, the way we resisted Jonathan in those days. When Jonathan proposed to remove the whole subsidy, even this president was among those people who called that the removal of subsidy is not right at that time. And so if it was not right at that time, it is not right at this time as well. We need to work well on the economy, and until the economy improves and things are stable in Nigeria, the removal of subsidy is something that should not be allowed at this time. My thoughts.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.